So, Mark, the next question I have is from Ian. He's curious what kind of IDX integrations do you think are integral to the future, and what do you offer?
That's a great question. And while it is a great question, you may not like my answer. I'll be honest. Here's the deal. Going back to the whole idea of fields are different everywhere that you are, whether you're in Springfield, Missouri, you're in Las Vegas, you're in Atlanta, Georgia, wherever you're at, different terminology, different field names, different types of properties are all used. So one of the challenges is if you have somebody moving in from one area to another, sometimes just finding properties is a challenge. But honestly, Zillow has such a huge inventory and such a huge budget on marketing and stuff that drawing people in on the search of properties using IDX, like I said, you're probably not going to like this answer, but drawing people in to your personal website to use IDX to display those properties, unless you have a huge budget that can draw those in from places, is it actually being used or not? If probably 99% of the people that are going to search for properties are going to go out to Zillow anyway. So you've got to do something different. And this is my point. Instead of, or having those properties on your website is important, but you've got to figure out how to draw your avatar, your person into your business in a way different than just here's where all my properties are. You need to be identifying who is your avatar, what is your niche, and this is, I mean, so many people talk about this, but it is so true, where if you can focus in on certain types of people, and then you can go out, you can do research using AI to identify the market that is looking for that niche area, do the data analytics, bring in the data part of it, and then create presentations and information. And when people are looking for content, they will find you because you've got data about the area specific to what they're looking for, versus just finding a property. And maybe that's,
Mark, we got a little more context too. Ian's curious about the IDX integrations in the CRM for customized messaging and automations.
Oh, okay. I guess that is a little bit different. So most of your IDX websites that are out there, whenever they are going, they're integrating into your website, typically you've got your searching fields, the registration fields, your favoriting fields, things like that are going to help you identify those leads. And again, I still question whether or not that is in there, but the whole idea is getting those leads into your CRM so that you can then manage the relationship with them. And bringing that data in, we've made it very simple by utilizing AI to be able, whenever an email comes in with that information, being able to see, what properties are they looking for, whatever can be part of the content that's being brought in from your website. Everybody's IDX provider is a little bit different. IDX broker, there's individual website links and stuff. SAM right now, the software that we have created is IDX ambiguous. It really doesn't matter. We do not do the website part of it. What we do is whenever you have a website that utilizes IDX, whenever they register, they like certain properties, that type of stuff, we can then take those behavioral items and have it incorporated into the context of that person. For example, one of the systems that we do integrate with is HomeBot. HomeBot is, I'm not even sure where they're exactly located. Probably need to find that out. But if you have a HomeBot type of website, it's not even IDX. I shouldn't say.
HomeBot is out of Denver.
Yeah. That was a bad example. HomeBot, one of the things about HomeBot that I really, really love is that, again, it's providing information about your particular property. You would go in there, a lead comes in, maybe you register them through their address. HomeBot will then go out and do research and stuff and it's got all the data and stuff on property pricing, and it does deep research on the value of that property and stuff. And there's lots of them that do this, but in either case, every time a person goes to that site and it does a lookup, the person opens an email, all the behavioral things that happens, HomeBot's integrated with us in that it sends that information to us, and now we can start scoring. If something happens, a person opens an email, they open a report, or they go look at a property, they favorite a certain property address if they're buyers, that information then is brought into SAM, and now we know, oh, hey, they're interested, or they're looking at this price range, or they're looking at different types of things. We can then take that information, and that's part of SAM, going back to the name and why it's a mouthful, Systems Accelerator Manager. Systems, there's lots of systems out there. We accelerate. The accelerator is helping you bring together all these different services. So while we don't provide all the different services out there, we're bringing them in and then using AI to be able to manage those services and manage the data, the infrastructure of that data to be utilized in lots of different ways. So whenever a lead comes in, now we start nurturing them. We can identify through different aspects, things that they, categories of who they are, and start providing content back in the form of emails. We integrate with Gmail and Outlook. We integrate with MailChimp. We integrate with SendGrid. And as you send information out in these, a lot of times it can track, did they open it? Did they click on it? And that behavioral information is what's key to identifying what is their intent, what is their likelihood of turning around and actually buying or selling property. And based off of that, then we can then send out more content driven towards them based off of their intent, based off of their demographic. We've got one field, and one of the important things is whenever you are collecting data, what is their demographic? And based off of that demographic, what content do you send them? And give you an example here. Let's say they're a first-time home buyer, okay? And they registered on your IDX website. They're looking at properties, certain price range, whatever. That information can come in and be put into SAM. SAM then utilizes that information as it's creating its content to go out. You can augment your standard templates using AI to look at their individual record, identify any, and depending on how you want to do this, but identifying certain key characteristics of what they're looking for and being able to focus in on that as it's replying back, even if it's using a standard template detail email. So, and this may be getting confusing. I probably should show an example, but basically everybody, whenever you're putting in contacts in the database, it can be identified as, what language do they speak? Are they first-time home buyers? Are they move-up buyers? Are they executive home? Are they downsizing? Are they retiring? All these different things that can be in there. And even though you may put them on a similar type of routine process of nurturing that lead, they can be getting different content based off of those different key factors of who they are. And those key factors then can also be augmented or changed using AI. The terminology can be changed based off of individual fields within the database so that it's very personalized to them. And this goes back to something that you talked about, is how, Cody, how so many people talk about, oh yeah, I send out personalized emails.
Mhm.
It's because I have a merge field in there with first name, last name, or whatever. And having a merge field is not personalizing it.
It's possibly the worst way to personalize, in my opinion. And it's for some reason become like the modern convention. You use like dear, and then you use a first name merge field, and you like high five yourself like you made the world's most personal message, when literally everyone who's ever received your email address is going to be using that. Now, my personal frustration with merge fields aside, they're very useful, but if we're only using them for really surface level things, we're not actually doing anything. And Mark, you kind of touched on a really fun little side note that I'll explain. Customer relationship managers, CRMs. When I was thinking about the Systems Accelerator Manager, well, CRMs don't really help with customer relationships as they are. They do a great job of storing information. I oftentimes think about them, they're the digital manifestation of the Rolodex, the business tool that we used in the 60s, not we as in I, but society. Whereas the true success in building great relationships, you and I talk about this all the time, building out world-class client experiences, it comes from having great systems in place. And when you think about, gosh, I need a system in place for how I help facilitate that lead that comes from the IDX. Anytime they take some sort of action, anytime they engage in some sort of effort. Ian, when I was in a sales team, one of my most successful efforts would be to send out one-off messages, and we had the ability to observe when they were opened. Well, as soon as it was opened, that was my key indicator to pick up the phone and call them, because they're either looking at the email or they just looked at it and it's still top of mind. That was a manual system that was being engaged because we didn't have the ability to do that. But we built those into SAM so that they can be automated into processes. Now, the other side that Mark's kind of getting into is the true customization, not just using merge fields, but taking those actions that they're doing, taking the moments they're looking at a specific website, a specific piece, are they opening the message, or however they're engaging with you, what do you know about them? Those are the details that when you use AI, you feed it all into there, and then the AI systems have a good understanding of who they are, what they are, how they're engaging with you, and then they can help you better serve those people. And so really what it's doing is it's using AI as the tool that it's supposed to be used as. And in doing so, that is the systems acceleration that we are managing, rather than the customer relationship that's not really being managed in the database.
It's well said. Yeah.
Yeah. So Mark, I don't know if I cut you off on that one.
Part of the question there is what do we offer as far as IDX connectivity, and we don't really do that part of it.
Mm-hmm.
There are plenty of systems that are out there. They integrate with your website. The thing that we do is, after that person comes to your website, and hopefully because of IDX, but in all reality, it's probably because of some other reason, but potentially through those IDX property information stuff, there are certain widgets that are typically on the website, and those widgets being, the property list itself, the property detail, the searching mechanism, the favoriting mechanism, the notifications on new properties that come in. Those pieces exist typically in abundance in lots of different systems already, in lots of different websites. What we do is the next step after that. Once they've done that process, then it comes into our realm, and I'm hoping that makes sense on where we come in. Most real estate agents don't have lead problems, bringing in leads. You can find leads. What they have is a systems problem more than anything. Leads can come in, but if you can't handle those leads because you've not been able to scale your business to a way that you can handle those properly, it doesn't help you to get more leads. If you've already got a database of a few hundred, a few thousand names, you have the ability to do as much business as you want through the building of the relationships that you already have, and not necessarily having to go out and buy new leads from Zillow or whomever, realtor.com. I mean, all these people are doing, and I'm probably going to get hate mail on this, sorry, is
Your opinion.
they are reselling you your own people back, because they're going out to your MLS, they're grabbing the data, they're putting it into their systems, and then they're selling you the leads that are being drawn from there. They're able to do that because they have such a big budget on marketing and television ads, and just the whole mentality of the consumer today is, if I want to find properties on in this certain city or whatever, first place I go to is Zillow.com. That's just the mentality of it. They've taken the whole concept of searching properties, and they've stolen it from us. In all reality, used to, we'd have the MLS, and it was proprietary to the real estate agent, and that's been taken away. And unfortunately, for the real estate agent, now you're having to buy those leads back. Once they're bought back, if you do that process, which My mentality is, if you treat your customers right, and this is a whole nother topic, where 83%, I think it is, that the NARS report, 83% of all buyers and sellers would do repeat business with you, but only 20% actually do, I think is the two numbers there. And why is that? Well, it's because you didn't either build the relationship well enough, or you didn't keep up with that relationship well enough for them to come back again. And so much is being missed because of that. And what we're trying to do is make sure that those people do not get dropped through the cracks. Make sure that you're building that relationship on a regular basis with nurture processes. My core strategies, whenever I teach systems in general, we talk about the core strategies, CORE, and it stands for conversions, which is all your lead conversion piece, the lead, creating lead magnets, creating, bringing in those leads, nurturing those leads until they finally sign on a dotted line as a buyer's agreement or a seller's agreement of some sort. That's the C part of it. The O being your operations. What's the sections that you're going to do to actually bring in the money from the time that they sign that agreement until you get a contract. That's your listing, marketing area. That's all part of operations. Once they get the buyers, or once they get the contract signed and agreed upon, then you go from contract to close. And then all of that part of the system, there's lots of deadlines and stuff like that. We handle all that as well, making sure that your processes are in place to be able to handle the marketing through the closing. And then post closing, once everything is said and done, they get the keys, they go home, they start unpacking. Then how do you nurture that lead from that point forward for the next 3, 7, 5, 12 years until they choose to sell and buy again? And that's the process right there that so many people mess up on. They're very transactional. It's like, okay, I got one, I sold it, I made my commission, now let me go to the next one. And they drop the ball right there. And if you can pick that up, your business can come 80-90% referral. And this goes back to my time with Joe Stump. You can do business, you can have lots of business and not even ever buy leads if you do it right. The COR, so we've got conversions, operations, retention. That's the retaining of your sales and stuff. The E on that is the experience. And this is probably the most important part of it. It encompasses the other three by saying, okay, I'm going to give my people, my buyers, my sellers, an experience that they will remember, and they will tell others because of that experience, and I will get more business from it because I gave them that experience. I have a whole story about going to a steakhouse and how many people I have referred to that steakhouse because of how they treated me. They gave me an experience that I continued to tell this story. It was in the 2000s. So, almost 20 years, 25 years ago, that just blew me away. And I continue to tell people about that experience. And your people, if you give them that same experience through your systems that you do, if you can give everybody a consistent, regular, and I shouldn't say regular, an enhanced experience, something that they will remember, but you give it to them in a way that you can repeatedly do it to everybody in your list. And I'm preaching to the choir, I'm sure here. If you can do that at scale, you don't have to worry about buying leads ever.
That's right. So Mark, one of the podcasters I found years ago that I absolutely love it. It reminds me of this mindset, and you and I talk about this a lot, but a fellow by the name of Jordan Harbinger, and his quote that, like, I guess got etched on me, is dig your well before you're thirsty. Right. And so you're exactly right. Like the transaction is through, you've got a commission in the bank, you high five yourself, bills are getting paid, excellent. But then you realize, oh gosh, well, I've got other transactions in the work. I've got to go start on getting more leads in the door. You know, it's that feast and famine oftentimes. And they forget that the person that they just successfully got this huge result for could easily be their biggest advocate. And because they just successfully got them through the close, they know that they are going to be the one who can actually do it. And so when you think about that post sale, you know, driving that, I call it the golden goose, working towards that repeat referral, and then you throw some systems into it so that you can manage them, whether it is a 1-year system where you're looking at season changes, and you reach out to them at the season change and say, hey, I live in Missouri. It's going to get cold in the next couple of weeks. We just made it through what we call fake fall, where it was super frosty, and now this week it is 90 degrees again.
Welcome to Missouri.
Welcome to Missouri. But it's going to be cold again. So you need to prepare for that. And if you don't know what that means, you need to cover all of your exterior faucets so your pipes don't freeze. You need to go through and make sure your window screens are on and things like that. You as the real estate,
your first time home buyers won't necessarily know that.
Not at all.
Your experienced homeowners will. And if you send your experienced homeowners that same information, it's out of context because they don't need that information. You need to give them different information. And for your first time home buyers, that's perfect. That's the message they need. But if your systems aren't in place to be able to handle that, then you've got a systems problem. You've got a scale problem, and you will never be able to handle the numbers of people that you need in order to grow your business.